Oh God, there's so many diets on the market. You can't imagine. Or maybe you do imagine. And maybe you ask yourself the question, which diet is good for me? So if you're also asking yourself this question, and if you have started to meditate, I can give you an answer in the light of the meditation that you have started, in the light of the yoga, and with respect to the Navi chakra. You know the Navi chakra, which is the whole area in the stomach, which of course includes our stomach itself, parts of our intestines, which includes the spleen, the pancreas, the liver, of course, the gallbladder. All this belongs to this Navi chakra. And we all know that what we eat is very much responsible of how we feel. We have the luxury at the moment that in many countries of the world, we can choose what we eat. So this is how the problem of diet has come up. Previously, this problem was not there because there was not sufficient food. We couldn't find sufficient food. So at that part, and in those countries where we still have the situation in big parts of Africa, for example, the question of diet is very simple to be answered. Get whatever you get, whatever has some nutrition factor, eat it. For heaven's sake, eat it, and eat it now. But in countries where we have the luxury that we have sufficient food, the food also starts to sit on our heads like matter sits on our head. So the best thing is that we do not break our heads too much about food. Because as soon as we all the time think about food and what should I eat and what should I not eat and what is allowed, what is not allowed, it's such a mental process. And whatever the food itself might do good to you is all getting lost just by the many mental processes you have of what to eat and what not to eat. But again, in the light of our meditation, there are some basic balancing methods which we can use. So there is no diet which is good for you and me and for everybody. But there are elements which are good to be known and which are healthy. One thing is definitely healthy, that if you are too thin, then, and what is too thin? If you feel that you don't have sufficient strength, if you feel that you're underweight, then of course you have to try to gain weight, but hopefully not by gaining weight, by doing unhealthy things. So many people who actually can eat a lot and who don't gain weight, they have a problem with the liver. The liver runs too hot. Mainly these are people who are very easily get agitated, who overflow very easily emotionally, and who are very difficult to deal with because they get angry for no rhyme and reason. So if you happen to be one of those, then proteins are not good for you. I mean, of course, you have to eat sufficient proteins to survive, but then it's definitely good if you rather turn to vegetarian food. It doesn't matter if it's vegan or whatsoever, but vegetarian is definitely better. So every food, everything that we see, every matter has also a very, first a chemical structure. And beyond that chemical structure, it has a subtle nature, how it works on us. So most of the fruits, for example, are cooling. Most of the vegetables were also cooling. Some of the vegetables which grow in the earth, like roots and all that, they're especially cooling. Also like wheat and everything that we eat, corn, that bring a lot of calories, and they are very good to cool us down. And they're very good to be eaten by people who are rather on the right side, means on the active sides. And especially if you're very much out of balance, if you're a liverish person, then you should rather turn to those carbohydrates. They will help you a lot. If you happen to be somebody who is on the other spectrum, you could imagine it like a scale. There are people who are very active, they're very futuristic. So the right side of the scale weighs already very heavy. So you're not supposed to put more items on this part of the scale. That would get you out of balance. And the balance is the most important thing for the Nabhi chakra. Your Nabhi chakra, the main quality of your Nabhi chakra is the balance and the peace within. So, and I started to speak about those people who are rather on the left side. So those who are more on the left side, you will find it out that you're a person who thinks that everybody else is better than you. You're a person who is scared to start new things. You might be a person who is scared of many things. You might be a person who feels guilty a lot. You might be a person who feels that you are stuck in your own emotions. You're stuck in your own desires. You might be sleepy during daytime and you feel unwell. You rather harm yourself. While the people who are on the right side, they tend to harm others. So if you're rather somebody who harms yourself, then you have to eat proteins. It would be an absolute nonsense if you try to become vegetarian. You need to have proteins, animal proteins, even red meat if you're very, very much on the left side. So there is no judgment that vegetarianism is good or the other thing is good. It should create a balance. Balance is the quality of your Nabhi chakra. And if you want your Nabhi chakra to be all right, you have to use this balance. For example, through eating, but of course, through your behavior. And now it's very difficult if you feel angry, for example, to keep it inside. You should not swallow it. That's again bad for the Nabhi chakra. But what you can do is to meditate. If you meditate regularly, then this movement from left to right, this movement will get less. And the lesser this movement gets, the more you come into balance. And the more you are in balance, the easier it remains, the easier you remain in balance. And then you become a person which is very peaceful. And now, as we are aware that there is a war going on, there are many wars going on, but this is a war where a superpower is involved, like Russia and Ukraine. The first thing that we need to develop to avoid any further wars is peace within. And this peace within that comes from our Nabhi chakra. And if through our meditation we can create peace within, that peace will just go out of you. It will like rays of light, soothing, cooling, rays of moonlight, you could say. Cooling down everybody, making everybody peaceful as well. And this is what you reach with your meditation. And this is one of the main qualities of the Nabhi chakra. And when you do your meditation, you can use the element of water, because water is the principle of sustenance, while fire is the principle of consumption. You know, when you digest something, you have to have this digestive process. This is actually a burning process. So it's the fire which works. But for the sustenance, this principle of the other principle of the Nabhi chakra, you have to have the water. And something very good to do is to put your feet into water and salt. Like, of course, if you're at the seaside, that's easy. But if you happen not to be at the seaside, you can take any bowl of water and put 1 or 2 spoonfuls of salt into it and put your legs into it. And that will bring you into your beautiful balance. Every evening you can do that. But if you're rather on the left side of the scale, then you also can use the fire. then you need the other element. Then you don't need the water so much, you need the fire. You can look through the flame, burning flame, just look through the flame. Yes, that will help you a lot. And there are other methods too, which I don't want to go into detail. But the Nabi is balance. Food is a very important element which can bring you balance. Don't just think that vegetarianism is good for everybody or eating proteins is good for everybody. It depends on what kind of person you are. And if you go beyond the element of sustenance, then this principle of the Nabi chakra is the evolution. It will bring you closer to your true self. And if you happen to find yourself unsatisfied with what the life gives you, where you say, okay, now I'm getting a family, I'm building a house, I'm planting a tree, maybe I get a car at some point, maybe I'm getting this, and what then? If you ask yourself this question, then you ask the question for your true self. And this is also a quality of the Nabi chakra, that it tries to evolve you. It's the principle which goes beyond sustenance. It's the principle which goes for your evolution. And when you meditate, you develop all this and you become a better person and you become a better citizen and your life will be beautiful and your family will be beautiful. Thanks for watching.